So, have you ever come across this problem where a recipe calls for maybe a tablespoon or two of tomato paste, and then you have half a can left over? What to do with it? Do I put it in the fridge with just some tin foil on it? I've done that. And before long you find out, ugh, it tastes like the can because it starts to oxidize, and you just end up throwing it away. And what a waste, isn't it? Well, I've got another little trick. I'd like to say I figured this one out on my own, but I did not. There was somebody else on the internet giving this tip. There's so many good tips on the internet. So anyway, I'm going to show you what she did and what I do now in order to not throw away leftovers. Well, we've got a small can, and if we look at the back of the can, it says it has about 5 servings per container, and the serving size is 2 tablespoons. So we know that 2 times 5 is 10. So there's about 10 tablespoons in this can. And if you only use 1 or 2 tablespoons per recipe, well, that's a lot going to waste. That's okay. We've got the trick, right? First, we open the bottom of the can. Do not take out the lid. You're going to need that. And now I'm going to open the top of the can. I like this handheld can opener. It's a Swing Away brand, and it just seems to work consistently where others don't. Okay, so now we have both sides open. Well, one side we can take out. And I think I'm going to change the name of my rubbish bowl to a pool party. So anything we don't want, we're going to throw into our empty pool. Oh, don't need it anymore. That's just the top one. We don't need it anymore. So you see it's open. And then next I took parchment paper, which I cut into, that's about 4 by 6 maybe strips. I just pull out a piece, a 4-inch piece of my parchment paper, and cut it all the way down, and then cut that in half, and that'll give you the right amount. And we're going to cut into 10 of those strips, right? And that's what we're going to use to put our tablespoon of tomato paste in. Of course, you will need a freezer locking bag, something that will hold up in the freezer. And here we go. The reason why I didn't have you take out the bottom is because we're going to push this through, and we're going to use this to push it through so we don't get our fingers all yucky with tomato sauce. And you will get about 10 tablespoons out of here, roughly. If these are a little bit more than a tablespoon each, it's not that big of a deal. So I'm going to push the bottom like a push-up pop. You're just going to start pushing. If you can see, now it's going to come out the top. I'm going to push it up what looks roughly like maybe 1/4 of an inch, maybe a little more. About there. Okay, you see it coming out the top. I'm going to take my sharp knife. This is my chef's knife. You could also use a smaller knife if you need to, but I use this for almost everything. And you just lay this down on your cutting board, and you cut off a slice of it. That looks like about a tablespoon, roughly. All right? And I'm going to put that tablespoon right here. Move this out of the way so you can see right there on one side of my parchment paper. The reason why I don't put it in the middle is because I'm going to bend the parchment paper over and just press a little bit. Kind of like you're making a sandwich. See? Okay. That is about roughly 1 tablespoon. And you're going to stick your first tomato sandwich in there, in your bag. So you're going to keep pushing out and filling up all these parchment paper pieces and putting them in the freezer. Now, when it's all frozen and you need a tablespoon of tomato paste, you just go to your freezer and you pull out 1 packet, and you know you have roughly a tablespoon, and you put that into your ingredients. It melts very quickly in the heat, so that's not a problem. Of course, you would take off the parchment paper. The reason why we're using parchment paper and not other things is because it's easy to peel off. If you use plastic wrap, it would stick, and even wax paper at times have a tendency to really stick. So parchment paper is the best for this. If you don't have parchment paper, then use wax paper. Do not use saran wrap or plastic wrap. It just doesn't work as well. And that is how you do not waste your tomato paste anymore. Handy dandy trick. FYI, right? Awesome.